Before the rise of the singular male god that so many know today, humanity looked to a different kind of creator. A creator who was not distant or abstract, but as tangible as the earth beneath their feet. This was the age of the goddess. For millennia, across continents and cultures, the ultimate source of all life was imagined as female. She was the Great Mother, the cosmic womb from which all existence flowed. This wasn't just a quaint belief. It was the central organizing principle of countless societies. It shaped their understanding of the world, their relationship with nature, their very sense of self. The divine was not a king on a throne, but a mother giving birth to the universe. This concept of a supreme female creator is one of the oldest spiritual ideas in human history. It stretches back into the mists of the Paleolithic era, long before written records. Why female? The answer is profoundly simple and deeply intuitive. Early humans witnessed the miracle of birth firsthand. The Great Mother manifested in a dazzling array of forms, each goddess a unique expression of this primordial creative force. In ancient Greece, she was Gaia, the earth herself. She was the earth, not merely upon it. From her being, she brought forth the sky, the mountains, the sea. Gaia was the ancestral mother of all life. She birthed the Titans, and later the Olympian gods. To walk on the ground was to walk on the body of the goddess. Travel east to Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, and you meet Tiamat. In the Enuma Elish, she is the primordial goddess of the Salt Sea. Monstrous, powerful, she is the mother of the first gods. Tiamat stands for the untamed, chaotic, creative forces of primal nature. Her tale ends in a cosmic battle, slain by Marduk. He uses her body to shape heaven and earth. In the same fertile crescent, the Sumerians worshipped Ninhursag, Lady of the Sacred Mountain, a mother goddess tied to the fertility of the land. Worship of the Great Mother was not a passive intellectual exercise. It was a vibrant, deeply embodied practice, woven into the daily lives of the people. Rituals were designed to honor her creative power and to encourage her life-giving benevolence. These ceremonies were often tied to the cycles of nature. The planting of seeds, the harvesting of crops, the phases of the moon, the turning of the seasons. People would gather in sacred groves by holy springs within temples, built to resemble the womb of the goddess. These were places where the veil between the human and divine worlds was thin, where mortals could directly participate in the sacred drama of creation. The focus of these rituals was almost always fertility, in all its forms. This meant not just human reproduction, but the fertility of the land and the abundance of livestock. Processions, dances, chants were common. Offerings of the first fruits, grains, and libations of milk or wine were made to thank the goddess and ensure her continued favor. How do we know all this? How can we be so sure? The goddesses have left their fingerprints all over the archaeological record. For decades, archaeologists have been unearthing a staggering number of female figurines, stretching from the shores of Europe to the plains of Siberia and the river valleys of the Middle East. These aren't just dolls or toys. The most famous of these, like the Venus of Willendorf, date back over 25,000 years. With their exaggerated breasts, hips, and vulvas, and often lacking distinct faces, they are not portraits of individuals. They are powerful icons of a single potent idea: universal female fertility. These Venus figurines are our earliest tangible connection to the spiritual lives of our Paleolithic ancestors. They are found in dwelling sites and burial grounds, suggesting they were part of daily life and sacred ritual. They tell a story without words, a story of reverence for the female body's ability to create and sustain life. As we move into the Neolithic period, the evidence becomes even more abundant. In places like Çatalhöyük in modern-day Turkey, we find shrines dominated by female imagery. A plaster relief of a goddess giving birth to a bull's head speaks volumes about her central role in the community's beliefs about life, death, and power. Ancient texts, when they begin to appear, add voice to the silent stones. The cuneiform tablets of Sumer and Babylon give us the epic tales of Inanna and Tiamat. While often filtered through a later, more patriarchal lens, these stories preserve the memory of a time when female deities held supreme power. The Enuma Elish may celebrate Marduk's victory, but in doing so, it cannot help but tell us of the immense primordial power of Tiamat, the mother he had to overcome. Egyptian hieroglyphs on temple walls and papyrus scrolls detail the myths of Nut and Isis, revealing their indispensable roles in creation and resurrection. Even the Bible contains echoes of the suppressed goddess. References to Asherah and her sacred poles or trees, which were often erected next to the altars of Yahweh. show that her worship was widespread and popular among the ancient Israelites for centuries. The prophet's constant condemnation of her cult is, ironically, the best evidence we have for its persistence and importance. These texts, combined with the thousands of female figurines unearthed across the Levant, paint a picture of a religious landscape far more diverse than we once imagined. The evidence is clear. The great goddess was not a fringe belief, but a central and enduring spiritual force for millennia. The widespread and profound reverence for supreme female creators tells us something vital about our ancestors. It reveals a worldview deeply connected to the earth, one that saw the divine not in the distant sky, but in the ground beneath their feet and in the miracle of their own bodies. For these early cultures, the feminine was not the second sex or a lesser being, but the very font of existence, the ultimate power in the cosmos. This was a world that celebrated the cycles of life, death, rebirth, and saw immense wisdom in the rhythms of nature. The earth was the sacred body of the mother to be honored, not a resource to be exploited. The transition to dominant male deities was slow and complex, often tied to social and political upheaval. As societies became hierarchical, militarized, and urbanized, the cyclical, earth-based worldview gave way to sky-based, linear narratives. Tiamat, once creator, became a dragon to be slain. The powerful goddesses were demoted into wives, sisters, daughters. Yet the goddess was never fully erased. Her archetypes were absorbed into folk saints, the Virgin Mary, and other female spiritual figures. By looking back at these supreme female creators, we uncover a forgotten part of our story, and perhaps a wiser way to imagine our future.